probably my talk will be totally different than if I had given you this talk 15 or maybe 20 years ago. And just for one reason, just because actually bees are dying. I want to make you feel what I have in my head, what I have in my heart, and what's happening really with the bees. And I have a friend in the United States, and he's doing something like that, and I will do the same with you. It's a small exercise. I ask you now to close your eyes. Yes, close your eyes. Imagine now that you're a bee. You're a bee, you're outside, everything is green, everything is beautiful, a lot of sun, a lot of food, and in 1 second, everything starts to be dark. It's raining. It's time for you to go back to your hives. Now you are in the hives with all the other bees. You can open your eyes, look at the bee on your left, please. Look at the bee on your right. And this year, one of you will be dead. That's the reality of the bees. If we are here in hives, 1/3 of all these hives will be dead this year. Unfortunately, it is not only here in Belgium. It is also in France, in Germany, in England, in the United States, but also in China. It's a worldwide trouble. And when I explained that to the people, many people told me, so what? Yes, bees are dying. But what can be the consequences for us, for the human? In fact, bees are really more than honey. I will give you a small example. In one honeybee colony, it is a superorganism. You have more than 50,000 bees. All of these bees will pollinate more than 4 billion of flowers in only 1 year. Then, if the bees are disappearing, or if the pollinators are disappearing, what that means? That means no pollination, no fecundation of the plant. That means no fruits, no vegetables, and high reductions in the natural biodiversity. To give you some numbers, 84% of all the crops for the human are directly dependent to the pollinators. Here, it is another example, a very nice example in the United States. It is a shop, and in this shop you have something like almost 500 fresh products, also fruits, vegetables. It is a world with bees. But if the bees are disappearing, it is more than 50% of all of this product that will disappear. And finally, the bees and the biodiversity, it is really more than just the environment. It is more than the food diversity. It is also your well-being. It is also our health. Now, the next question, and probably the most important question, what can we do? Do we have solutions? I will show you 2 examples, but from very big countries. The first one is this one. In some countries, like in the United States, they need the pollinations. And they replace the bees, and they try to replace the bees with some robots. It is very interesting. I am a scientist. I like it, honestly. I want to better understand that. I want to work with them a little bit and to understand. It is a real nice innovation, but that's not the solution, because it is just not a social innovation. It is an innovation, but not a social innovation. In one other country, a big country too, it's in China. And in China, in some place in China, all the bees are dead. In some region of China, it's not possible to find one bee. Then they need also an innovation. And I have it with me. Then I will just take the time to take it. It's an exclusivity, just for you. It's from China. This is the innovation. I'm not sure everybody can look at that. Then I show you that. Yes, it is a brush. It is not a joke. In fact, in some place in China, as all the bees are dead, they have to take a brush to buy the pollen, to put the brush with the pollen, and to put the pollen with the brush on the trees to have fruits. It is not a joke. It is the reality. Finally here, they just replace the bees with the human. But just remind you one thing. Only one colony of bees can pollinate more than 4 billion of flowers in a year. Then finally, all of these solutions are just sterile. It is not adapted, it is temporary. In 2 words, it is not sustainable. But we have a solution. And the solution, finally, is to preserve the bees, to preserve the biodiversity, and to preserve our environment. The most important thing is that's possible. I worked during more than 15 years only on the honeybee colony losses in Belgium, and I did a thesis on that. And we reduced the mortality rate from 33% to 5%. But when you're a scientist, most of the time you are working in the lab, you publish a lot, everybody is happy in your lab, but nobody uses your knowledge. But I wanted to make something real for the society, for the bees, for my children. That's why I create BeeOdiversity project with my friends. And the aim of BeeOdiversity is to preserve the bees and the biodiversity. But it's not easy. Because to make something like that, you have to change your mind. And you have to accept to collaborate with the other people. I will ask you just one question, and I'm sure almost everybody will tell the same. If I ask you, what are killing the bees now? Almost everybody here will say that's because of the pesticides. It's true. That's because of the pesticides. But if you're working only on the pesticides, the bees will continue to be dead. Because you have also to work on the disease, like viruses, like bacteria, like mites, like fungi, and also on the lack of food for the bees. It is the lack of biodiversity. Now, only one person cannot work on all of these factors. We need to collaborate. And the real social innovation of BeeOdiversity project is that we are giving the opportunity to everybody to be part of the cycle and to be finally an actor in the solutions. Who can work on the pesticides? That's the farmer, that's the public institution. Who can work on the disease? That's the beekeepers. That's also the veterinary services. Who can work on the biodiversity? That's the companies. That's the public institution. That's also the cities. But that's also the citizen. You can be part of the solution. You can be part of the solution. Everybody in this room can be part of the solution. Many citizens told me, but what I can do? You can just plant a small pack of seeds. You cannot use pesticides. It is small. But many people told me, but it is just a drop. It is almost nothing. It's true. It is just a drop. That seems to be nothing. But all the drops together can make an ocean. And all of these drops together can be the solution in front of a complex problem. And we did it. We have a small drop in a small project in Belgium, and we created our network. We are creating our network with companies like Spadel, for example, for the water, with some cities also, like Nokeist, for example, and like the bees, we swarm. We swarm and we are expanding our project everywhere. Now we are in the 10 provinces in Belgium, and we are expanding also in France, soon in Wales, in Romania, and hopefully in Europe and everywhere in the world. Then I hope I convince you that you can be part of the cycle. And I hope now we can together swarm for the future. Thank you very much for your attention, not only for me, but from the bees, the biodiversity also. Thank you very much.